Yo, what up? Wow, I am absolutely shocked right now. But before we get started with the stream, I just need to make sure my audio is working correct. If anybody is tuned in, if you guys can just quickly pop in the chat, verify that the audio is coming in clear, that would help me a lot. I am going to spend the next, thank you so much, Julianne. Great to see you today, by the way. Appreciate you. I wanted to throw the stream up to just talk a little bit about the Ross Ulbricht pardon that just happened. If you haven't caught wind yet, President Donald Trump just gave Ross Ulbricht a full and unconditional pardon. And I'm actually going to pull up this tweet because it's just like my heart's like pumping a little bit. This is really crazy and awesome. And it's a big deal for crypto. It's a big deal for Bitcoin. It's a big deal for regulation, and it's a big deal for Ross and the Ulbricht family. I mean, Ross served a sentence far too long than he should have, and would have served I think a double life sentence. With that being said, we're actually going to dive just a little bit into how this all came about. How did Ross end up in this situation? We're talking about something called the Silk Road. We're going to be talking a little bit about what this means for Bitcoin, and yeah, I'm just literally speechless right now, and it just happened as we speak. In fact, I'm going to pull up this tweet here. It's just absolutely shocking and a really, really cool story. This was something that Donald Trump said he was going to do on his campaign trail, and lo and behold, he actually did it. Trump followed through on his word, and he called the family of Ross Ulbricht and said that he wanted to let her know that in honor of her and the libertarian movement, which supported me so strongly, it was my pleasure to have just signed a full and unconditional pardon of her son, Ross. The scum that worked to convict him were some of the same lunatics who are involved in the modern day weaponization of government against me. He was given 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Ridiculous. It is absolutely, I mean, I'm just kind of astonished. I mean, I have a little video I'm going to play for you here in just a second, just to familiarize you guys, whoever may not know this story about Ross Ulbricht. But in this video will help lay out the story a little better than I can. But man, this is really, really, really cool news about Ross, and honestly, super shocking. So yeah, I'm gonna roll this clip. This is coming from Reason TV, and it's gonna just give you kind of a better idea about this whole situation. So let's roll it.
Arizona, a maximum security federal prison.
I'll spend the next few decades in this cage. Then, sometime later this century, I'll grow old and die. I'll finally leave prison, but I'll be in a body bag.
Ross was arrested at 29. Now he's 40. He faces a double life sentence plus 40 years with no possibility of parole for creating the Silk Road, a dark web marketplace that facilitated $1.2 billion in Bitcoin-denominated transactions. But a second chance might be coming from an unlikely savior.
And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht.
Trump made a deal with the Libertarian Party, and now Ross might not have to spend his middle and old age behind bars. He might not have to leave in a body bag if Trump makes good on his promise. Will he? In the coming months, career FBI officers and DOJ attorneys may dredge up lies about Ross so that Trump will change his mind. They may appeal to some of his draconian instincts. They may try to pin on Ross some of the disastrous outcomes of the drug war. But once you hear the full story, you'll see why Trump should ignore the saboteurs and keep his promise to free Ross. Ross's arrest on October 1st, 2013 at the Glen Park branch of the San Francisco Public Library was like a scene from an action movie. He was downloading an interview with Vince Gilligan, the creator of Breaking Bad. In another window, he was administering the Silk Road. Undercover FBI agents staged a physical fight behind him. When he turned his head to observe the commotion, an undercover agent snatched his laptop before he could close the cover, which would have encrypted the contents of its hard drive. The FBI keeps a picture of the computer on display as a trophy from the hunt. Ross.
Yo, real quick, I think I was muted there for a second. I just want to point out, Trump delivered today, just in the last hour, commuting Ross's sentence and give him a full and unconditional pardon. And I think a lot of people still don't actually know what happened with Ross, and why this is a big deal for crypto, and why this is a big deal for Bitcoin and everything that's happening right now with regulation forming. And even today, the first crypto task force facilitated by the President of the United States. So this kind of stuff just helps you give you a lay of the land. So I want to get through this, and then we can talk about it a little bit. But this should give you a very clear picture of why Ross Ulbricht was sentenced, put in prison, what the Silk Road was, etc.
Was no Walter White, the frustrated high school chemistry teacher who transforms into a violent drug kingpin in Vince Gilligan's series, driven by his lust for power and retribution. Ross was an Eagle Scout who majored in material science and engineering at the University of Texas at Dallas on a full scholarship. He was passionate about libertarian philosophy and Austrian economics. He read Ludwig von Mises and Murray Rothbard. He wrote on LinkedIn that he wanted to use economic theory as a means to abolish the use of coercion and aggression amongst mankind and create an economic simulation to give people a first-hand experience of what it would be like to live in a world without the systemic use of force.
I was trying to do something good. I was trying to help us move toward a...
This call is from a federal prison.
And he did. Ross created an underground e-commerce website called the Silk Road, and he was its first vendor, selling homegrown psilocybin mushrooms. The Silk Road became the eBay of drugs, with trusted sellers earning higher ratings and the message boards filled with tips for safer drug use. It established an ethical code of conduct: no fake degrees, no child porn, no stolen goods. Our basic rules are to treat others as you would wish to be treated, and don't do anything to hurt or scam someone else.
I was trying to help us move toward a freer and more equitable world.
While the Obama administration's Justice Department was pressuring banks and credit card companies to stop servicing gun shops, adult websites, and payday lenders, even though what they were doing was completely legal, the Silk Road demonstrated that with Bitcoin, you could buy things on the internet by circumventing the payment rails that the government controlled. Online trade had become virtually unstoppable.
Back then, Bitcoin made me feel like anything was possible. When the idea of Bitcoin really clicked for me, I got so excited. I thought, with Bitcoin, I can try to do something that actually makes a difference.
Ross became a hero to libertarians.
He has 2 life sentences and never committed a violent crime.
The guy has been condemned to rot in prison for setting up a website.
They created a smoke screen and used the charges of murder for hire, which they didn't even end up charging in the end.
Now would be the perfect time to revisit Ross's injustices and set the man free.
But others say he got exactly what he deserved.
This is a judge who finally got it right.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right. We all agree here on that?
Concur.
Life in prison without parole?
Yep.
Anybody else, any other wise guys want to do it? That's what you're going to get.
We all know the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? And now here I am. I'm in hell.
Does he deserve this fate? As Ross became paranoid that he'd be caught, did he stray from his high-minded ideals and break bad like Walter White? And does that mean Trump should think twice before freeing him? Ross's friends were shocked at his arrest. They described him as sweet-natured, loyal, guileless, and non-aggressive. He comes across as poetic and sensitive in his artwork, and an online interview posted before his arrest.
It was definitely a first love experience for me because I learned a whole lot about love and myself and like how attached and vulnerable you can get.
Those who oppose freeing Ross say that he was also a contract killer.
He actually solicited the killings of as many as 6 people,
offering $150,000 to a would-be hitman.
His mother said non-violent guy. No.
But when you look closer, things get murky. Here's what we know. When building their case, prosecutors drew on chat logs from a moment of crisis at the Silk Road. The site's top administrator, Curtis Green, had just been arrested. It looked like he might have stolen about $350,000 worth of Bitcoin. Knob, a participant on the Silk Road, was chatting with the site's top administrator, who called himself the Dread Pirate Roberts. He told Knob that this will be the first time I've had to call on my muscle.
Do you want him beat up, shot, just paid a visit?
Yeah, so I'm gonna stop sharing the screen, get through this ad here. The idea is that you guys you start to get the picture. This is a really big mess, and we're gonna go into it a little more. But at one point, Ross is accused in some ways as doing something like murder for hire, even though he's never charged with it. So it'll kind of go through, explain what he actually got charged for, that he got a double life sentence. But again, Ross was pardoned today. So this has really big implications for crypto, and it's really, really crazy and really cool to see Trump actually do this. Let me pull the screen back up. Hopefully you guys are learning something about this.
Then forced to send the Bitcoins he stole back.
Later that day, the Dread Pirate Roberts messaged Knob again.
Okay, so can you change the order to execute rather than torture? He was on the inside for a while, and now that he's been arrested, I'm afraid he'll give up info.
Knob sent the Dread Pirate Roberts a picture of what looked like Curtis Green being tortured and killed.
I am pissed I had to kill him, but what's done is done.
It turns out that Knob was DEA agent Carl Force, one of 2 investigators on the case who went to prison for embezzling Bitcoin during the investigation. He had staged Green's murder. But maybe the Dread Pirate Roberts, who was chatting with the corrupt undercover agent who set up a fake hit, wasn't actually Ross Ulbricht. After all, the name was inspired by the film The Princess Bride to describe a character inhabited over and over through many generations.
I am not the Dread Pirate Roberts, he said. My name is Ryan. I inherited the ship from the previous Dread Pirate Roberts.
When the Dread Pirate Roberts gave an interview to Forbes 2 months before Ulbricht's arrest, he insisted that he was not the site's founder.
What inspired you to start the Silk Road?
I didn't start the Silk Road. My predecessor did.
The Silk Road forums are full of comments from the Dread Pirate Roberts account. Did you write those?
The most I am willing to reveal is that I am not the first administrator of Silk Road.
The jury never saw this interview.
Everybody say was there multiple DPRs? Absolutely there was. I was DPR once.
Curtis Green says to this day that he doesn't believe Ross is the one who put out the hit, and claims the undercover agent Carl Force, aka Knob, also had access to the Dread Pirate Roberts account.
And Carl Force and myself, as far as I know, were the only ones that have the login.
When I was supportive of Ross to my attorneys, they said, why were you supportive of a guy that tried to kill you? And I immediately snapped back. I said, how do you know that he tried to have me killed? You're just going by what the government tells you.
Federal prosecutors never charged Ross for attempted murder, but the federal judge who sentenced him to 2 life sentences plus 40 years with no possibility of parole nonetheless referenced these episodes in her decision.
The fantasy is that this sentence is anything more than just purely punitive and completely beyond the range of what drug offenders get in this district, in this circuit, in this country.
The judge also said that Ross should be a public example for acting as though he was better than the laws of this country. Well, maybe he is. The drug war is the real villain in this story. It's cost $1 trillion while fueling decades of black market crime and violence, all as overdose deaths have increased. Black markets often become violent because there are no legal mechanisms for contract enforcement, and our participants become desperate to avoid being caught, which is what happened to the Silk Road. Yes, it's ironic that Trump, the man who openly admires China and Singapore's death penalty for drug dealers, might be the one to free the founder of the world's first major dark web drug market.
As I have said before, I will ask Congress to pass legislation ensuring that drug smugglers and human traffickers receive the death penalty.
But that's because if there's one thing Trump loves, it's a deal.
If you can't make a good deal with a politician, then there's something wrong with you.
And I'm a very good deal maker, believe me. I guess I look at everything like a deal.
I do hundreds of deals. The deals come out of my ears.
And one of his most audacious deals of the 2024.
Okay, I get that this is like 15 minutes long. Yeah, I want to make sure. By the way, if you're tuned in, thank you. Hopefully you can hear me. My mic had a little bit of a mic trouble there for a second, but we got like 5 more minutes left, and you basically get a whole picture on what's going on with Ross. So here we go.
Campaign was with the Libertarian Party, which never wins, but sometimes covers the spread in close presidential elections. Trump showed up at their convention and proclaimed he was something of a libertarian himself, to which he was met with a chorus of boos.
Well, in the last year, I've been indicted by the government on 91 different things. So if I wasn't a libertarian before, I sure as hell am a libertarian now.
But behind the scenes, something else was going on. Trump had struck an agreement with the Libertarian Party leadership.
And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht.
See that guy? So he did that, except it took him 2 days. Regardless, it happened. So still very, very cool, very big deal. Yeah, still mind blowing. We're going to finish up here.
Election for me, and I'll free your boy Ross.
He's already served 11 years. We're going to get him home.
Ross Ulbricht is one of our own. He is a libertarian, and he was inspired to do this website because of his libertarian beliefs.
Libertarian National Committee Chair Angela McArdle says Trump's former Director of National Intelligence, Richard Grenell, set up a meeting between her and the president at Mar-a-Lago during the 2024 campaign.
Rick is like, well, President Trump is a deal maker. You ask for the world. You ask for whatever you think, you can get, and it'll probably land in the middle. He likes making deals. And so I really still, I was anxious to ask too much and have Ross fall by the wayside. So I really hit home, like, we just want you to free Ross Ulbricht. Like, that's the most important thing. And he said, I love freeing people. I'll do that.
After the party's nominating convention, McArdle vowed to only back its own candidate, Chase Oliver, in non-competitive states favoring the Democrats. Trump won by thin margins in several swing states, while the Libertarian Party finished with its lowest vote share in 16 years.
It was sort of this glorious miracle, the way things unfolded. It couldn't have been better for making sure that Donald Trump was incentivized and to stick to his promises.
So now it's time for Trump to keep his end of the bargain. The Silk Road began as Ross's idealistic attempt to make the black market just a little safer by creating a place where people could vet buyers, avoid risky in-person transactions, find untainted drugs, and share safety information. That it appears ultimately to have fallen prey to some of the same violent forces as is in every other black market in history only shows just how hard it is to fix the problems prohibition causes, whether it's violence or increasingly dangerous synthetic drugs like the fentanyl driving the overdose epidemic, which has only grown worse since Silk Road's shutdown. Unless and until the government wises up and takes a different approach to drugs, our choices are places like the Silk Road and its many imitators since, or the cartels.
When I am president, it will be the policy of the United States to take down the cartels, just as we took down ISIS and the ISIS Caliphate.
We tried decapitating the cartels in the early 2010s, and it led to an even bloodier situation in Mexico. The last war on the cartels led to the rise of the notorious El Chapo. Once he was arrested, others took his place. The cartel transformed into a more decentralized and resilient umbrella structure, and the fentanyl flow increased, with seizures nearly doubling between 2021 and 2023. As long as there's a strong demand for drugs in America, it seems that there will be willing suppliers. Drug prohibition has failed, and no amount of bluster about executing dealers or going to war in Mexico is going to change that. But even if you disagree and think Trump can somehow finally win the drug war, it still doesn't justify keeping Ross locked up through his 40s. He'd already be out if he'd accepted the 10-year plea deal the government offered him. He served his time and expressed remorse.
To the extent that my actions led to drug abuse and addiction, I'm sorry.
Ross has been a model prisoner, pursuing his master's in psychology, teaching and serving as a conflict mediator on the inside, and collecting over 150 signatures of support for his release from fellow inmates. It certainly would be a far more defensible intervention than Joe Biden's self-serving pardoning of his son Hunter for all potential crimes covering more than a decade.
What are you going to do over the next 5 years? Like one sentence.
I'm gonna I'm gonna do a few things. So one sentence isn't enough, damn it. But I want to. Pretty sure I want to start a family in the next 5 years.
Nice. Okay.
Just make more friends and close people I love. Yeah, I want to focus on being more connected to people.
He's suffered enough. Donald Trump made a deal, and many of Ross Ulbricht's supporters voted for him, or at least not against him, because of that deal. It might not be pretty, but it's politics in 21st century America. Trump got what he wanted.
Wow. Okay. So now I think you get the picture. If you didn't already know why or how, what was going on with Ross. Let me just, there we go. So this is like a big deal. Like Ross was going to be in prison until he was 40. Started the Silk Road back in 2012, 2013. It was a major, Bitcoin was the sole currency behind the Silk Road. And since then, obviously, a lot of other marketplaces has popped up. People facilitate off the market trades in the black market, I'm assuming all the time with crypto. It's crazy to me that this is happening in a time where we're trying to understand what the regulations are with crypto, in a time where the president of the United States has issued his own cryptocurrency, which in fact today that cryptocurrency took a little bit of a hit temporarily because President Trump said this here. Let me play this clip for you. Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Do you intend to continue selling products that benefit yourself personally while you're president?
Well, I don't know if it benefited. I don't know where it is. I don't know much about it other than I launched it. I heard it was very successful. I haven't checked it. Where is it today?
You made a lot of money, sir.
How much?
Several $1 billion, it seems like, in the last several days.
Several billion? That's peanuts for these guys.
It's hard to laugh going right off a conversation from Ross. And I'm not laughing about Ross. I'm laughing about the fact that you have Trump here today talking about his coin that he dropped, and that coin took a pretty big hit when he said that. In fact, if I look over here at the marketplace, you can see at the time of Trump saying that, the coin just took a nosedive, like right off the cliff here. So here, let me get some of this other stuff out of the way. There's some indicators I like to use on a regular basis. But as to be expected, once people actually looked at this video a little more and understood that Donald Trump wasn't necessarily fighting his token, he's talking about it in a form basically saying that he acknowledges it, he knows he launched it, but 7 billion is peanuts. But to bring it full circle, if you've been tuned into crypto Twitter in the last couple of days, people are talking about the meta being a crime-driven meta. Like it's sort of a joke, but it's actually kind of serious in the fact that people are dropping these coins that normally wouldn't drop coins, and they're doing it because the president of the United States himself is dropping coins. In fact, yesterday we saw that the grandson of Donald Trump dropped a coin. So it's actually mind-perplexing, mind-boggling, mental that Trump comes into office, drops Trump coin, Melania coin, all these other people, Ryan Fournier, Trump's grandson, dropping their own coins, yet follows through on the Ross Ulbricht full and unconditional pardon. So I'm very confused about what's happening on the crypto landscape level, but I'm so incredibly thankful for Ross Ulbricht and his entire family and everybody over the last few years in crypto Twitter and Web3 who wanted to see Ross be freed. And if not for Trump, this would have probably never happened. I don't know any other way how this would have happened. So I have to give so much credit to Donald Trump, and it's just like, it's going to be crazy to hear the first interview from Ross after I'm sure he's on his way or been fully released at this point. I think that this was highly anticipated, given that this was supposed to happen day one, and technically it happened day two. Almost in 24 hours, still awesome nonetheless. So for those of you who didn't know what was going on there, that's the context. It's pretty crazy to hear, Ross, somebody actually posted this earlier. Ross spent 4,147 days in prison. He should have only spent, none, in my opinion, but would have been out in 4,146. Nonetheless, he's free. So it's just super, super cool. And I know that this is going to be talked about a lot, but still, I'm just very confused. I mean, you have the president of the United States dropping his own meme coins, half acknowledging them, but in a good way, kind of joking, saying, billions is peanuts. So all I can say about the Trump coin, moving away a little bit from the Ross topic, is that I think this coin is primed for much higher. Do I know how much higher? No, but it's the president of the United States. And so, I think I'm like looking at this like psychological price point of $1 or 100 billion, or not $1, but $100. So, who knows? Maybe it'll get there. I don't know. This coin's only been out for a few days, but it's, the paradigm or the paradox between this crime meta and then somebody that actually got convicted and was in prison for facilitating a marketplace that used Bitcoin. They're obviously not the same. Dropping a coin and creating infrastructure, or creating, something that we always look for and ask. We always say, well, what's the utility? Ross very early actually built something for Bitcoin, using Bitcoin with, good intentions behind what he was doing. And the marketplace itself was really successful. In fact, I have quite a few friends who use that marketplace and bought a lot of things, drugs of all kinds of all sorts on the marketplace for, their college parties, etc. But just really, really cool and groundbreaking stuff to see Ross freed. Also today in the news, I'm sure you guys saw, I don't know if I have a tweet bookmarked for it, but the first ever crypto task force was created. And you might be familiar with the name Hester Pierce, who's going to be leading that crypto task force. And so we're starting to see some stuff happen very, very quickly. That's bullish for crypto, in my opinion. And a lot of people have mixed opinion. I have mixed opinions about Trump dropping his own coin, but nonetheless, this stuff is really, really bullish for the year of 2025 in crypto, especially when I'm personally looking over at some of these AI coins and the intersection of AI and blockchain and the bullish momentum that can happen from tech that really leverages the blockchain in a way on such a big scale like AI can. So this is just yeah, I'm a little like beside myself when it comes just to this conversation, just what happened today, because it's a really big deal. The other thing I want to point out, somebody, Jameson Lopp made a pretty cool reminder that I came across today, that the Bitcoin ETFs were only launched a year ago and now hold over 1.1 million Bitcoin, which is 5.7% of the current supply. So I got to pop that up here on screen so that you guys can see that. You can actually see over the last year that, you know, just the sheer increase in volume between companies like BlackRock, Grayscale, Fidelity, Van Eck, like, you know, the biggest investment banks, investment firms out there possibly. So this is only going to continue to grow, in my opinion. We also saw that Michael Saylor bought another $1.1 billion in Bitcoin today alone. So he's not stopping anytime soon. And if you've watched any of his interviews, he basically says that it's always a good time to buy Bitcoin. And I tend to agree. I mean, Bitcoin's sitting at 105,000 right now, coming off from the all-time high just a few days ago. Bitcoin actually peaked, and I don't even think this is a Bitstamp pairing. This isn't even actually the true all-time high. I think it went all the way up to 109,000. So I'm going to have to remove this, which, you know, we can actually do really quick. We'll add a proper BTC pairing. Let's see. Let's try Coinbase and let's try Binance, and just we can actually see here. If you guys don't use TradingView, it's a really good tool. Obviously, I'm not advertising for it, but this is just a spot that I always look for all my stuff. So yeah, you can see right here the high, according to the Binance USD pairing, Bitcoin topped 107,000. And then over here, I guess 107,000. I don't know why I had 109 in my mind, but you can actually see that. So, I mean, again, this is all extremely bullish stuff for crypto, in my opinion. And so in a year where you couldn't ask for anything more bullish, in my opinion. Let's see, what does Yam say? Yam says, I remember his mom showing up to Bitcoin events in Austin back when he got arrested. I never thought I'd see him get released. Yeah, I know. It's shocking to me. I mean, I came into crypto in 2016. That's when I bought my first Bitcoin for $650. So I spent the next year and a half diving head over heels, learning everything possible. It only took me about a year of holding Bitcoin before I started learning about all these other blockchains and all these other coins and trading. But in that process, I had to go back and learn about all the OGs in a lot of the stories, and you can't help but learn about the Silk Road and Ross. And I didn't even know what to think about it at the time. You know, it was so early, and so yeah, pretty cool. Thanks for sharing that, Yamamushi. Really appreciate it. Let's see, Viagra. Viagra says, what's bad for supporters is great for Trump. He is milking his base for everything they own before rugging, exactly as predicted. You know, I don't know if I agree with that take. I don't think that president of the United States is going to issue a token and then rug it right in front of our face. I mean, do I think that it was done in the best and that the near-term perspective of what it looks like is atrocious? Yeah. I mean, right now, basically everyone thinks, or they just don't. You either one, don't know if you can launch a coin, or two, basically just decided, well, Trump did it. Who's the president of the United States? So now I'm going to go ahead and do it. And little do you know, if you've been around crypto Twitter for any length of time over, let's say, like a week or a month, and you start to get plugged into communities, you'll learn pretty quick that launching something, if done poorly, is maybe easily one of the biggest mistakes that you can make. I mean, even crypto influencers, people who have been here for years and have these massive followings, they go and they drop a coin, for instance, and it ends up completely wrecking their life. Or worse yet, somebody else drops a coin on their behalf, which is, and I don't want to say it like wrecks, it's wrecking people's lives in that sense. But I did see a tweet today that I'm going to share here as well. Just to switch over here. I don't know if you guys saw, but Zach XBT, if you're not familiar with Zach XBT, Thread Guy today, he described him as the Batman of crypto on his stream. He had a really great stream over there today. Probably Nothing Crew is doing it right. I saw their community launch fresh, go to like over 2,000 members in their Twitter community today. But more importantly, Zach XBT is this guy in crypto who has helped a lot of people get money back from scammers. And he always does these kind of like detective deep dives using the blockchain tracing stuff. Well, yesterday, somebody, I think it was this guy Moose, you guys know who I'm talking about if you're in crypto Twitter, started a like a crowdfund forum, like donation based. Different people gave to it, like Frank D. God's Moose. I know Thread Guy gave to him. A bunch of people donated. They raised like $65,000 to help Zach because, you know, even at one time, I think Zach helped the government get back like $20 million in Bitcoin, and they gave him nothing. Simultaneously, somebody dropped a coin, the Zach XBT coin, and sent 50% of the supply to Zach XBT, who then went on to set up a one-sided liquidity pool and exit with somewhere between $4 and $6 million without looking at the exact number. So even the best guys in crypto sometimes can't escape this. The fact that like somebody else created a token on his behalf, and he's like, you know, of course I'm going to sell this thing. If you sell it to me and it's worth millions, and he sold it in a way that was, you know, sort of, I don't want to call it stealthy, but kind to the chart, slowly kind of leaving rather than just a big red candle. But of course, the thing ran all the way up to $90 million and then nuked back down to like 30. And so, oh, pardon me, got to catch my breath here. But if anybody deserves to make money, Zach deserves to make money in crypto. He's definitely a legendary figure. And if you're on this crypto journey, just getting started, or if you've been here for a while, you're going to hear about Zach XBT. But so interesting. I mean, Ross being freed on this almost in the same 24-hour block that probably the best character, or one of the best known characters in all of crypto, has a coin made after him. All these people trying to raise money for him in a really, really noble effort, and then ends up getting the biggest payday of his life. Simultaneously, we see the crypto task force get created in the same day. Really, this is only day one. This is day two of the second Trump term and what it's like to have a bullish crypto president. So we also saw, I woke up this morning, I don't have any tweets for this, but I did see that different ETFs were approved, including are not approved, but applied for, including a bonk ETF. That's actually really crazy. So there's going to be more interesting crypto ETFs that are being applied for and potentially issued on an expeditious basis with the current cabinet and just kind of the pro crypto vibe that we have at the Washington federal government level. So, just crazy. This is just kind of all mind-blowing stuff to me, and it has big implications. I mean, when we're looking at something like the Bitcoin ETFs and these large investment funds pulling in all this, like starting to allow users to move money onto crypto, we're going to see it on a much larger scale. And so something I was talking about yesterday is, you know, where are we at in the cycle? And it's something a lot of people talk about. I heard some people say we're in like the top of the first inning. I've heard some people say, hey, it feels kind of euphoric around here. You have the president of the United States dropping a token. You have all this stuff happening. I'm going to maybe de-risk a little bit. My personal take is we're gearing up for the greatest, craziest year we've ever seen. And according to historical trends, we're just about to, we just moved out of that $100,000 channel for Bitcoin, and a logarithmic channel, it should land somewhere between 100,000 and 1 million. So we're really at the bottom of this range, and we have a long ways to go. And I have no idea what's going to happen this year, but I'm extremely optimistic with some of the stuff that's happening. Even though it's crime ridden, in a lot of ways. People who are dropping coins shouldn't, like Ryan Fournier, and then rugging it from, same idea. I think he rugged that coin from like 30 million down to nothing or something, and sold off $19 million and then put out a tweet saying, well, it was going down. What did you expect me to do, on a coin that he launched himself, which is just absolutely mind blowing. But all really cool stuff. Meanwhile, today, AI tokens starting to move in a really positive direction. Not that they weren't moving in a positive direction, but coming off from a weekend of Trump madness, we have the AI market share kind of peaking back up. And, even yesterday, we were sitting around 14 million. Today, pushing over 16 and kind of settling around somewhere between 15 and 16. And I'm definitely hearing this in like my trading circles and my different group chats that I'm in. People are starting to rotate and be really cautious with the meme market and new launches, and being really mindful about some of these great AI tokens that have come out in the last 2-3 months, specifically in the last month, and making sure they get positions before the bus leaves. I talked also about this yesterday, that there's this concept of Bitcoin dominance and altcoin season, and this theory that, or not this theory, but you can actually chart this, that when out of all of the coins being bought, when Bitcoin is the dominant coin, altcoins kind of being suppressed. And as people take their focus a little bit away and more away from Bitcoin, you see altcoins going up higher and higher. And historically speaking, we're right on the cusp of what we call an altcoin season. So, we're starting to see a little bit of that here. I'm looking at some of the smartest coins, some of the coins that I'm the most bullish on right now, particular in the AI sector, not just memes. There are really good memes and culture coins as well, but just kind of using this as an indicator, in addition to the other things I'm looking at, are we actually close to alt season? Where are we going? And I think we're going so much further than where we are now. And I keep saying this every day: position yourself, be smart, be careful. Okay, so one other big thing that's coming up tomorrow, and I can pull this up. This is tomorrow. We're actually going to be, I'll share my Twitter feed. Tomorrow is the JUP drop. For those of you who use Jupiter Exchange, tomorrow's the day. So if you, in the last year, or not in the last year entirely, from November of 2024 through November of 2023, if you used anything on Jupiter Exchange, and if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, I'll just actually go to Jupiter Exchange. So Jup is jup.ag. It's a place where you can do spot trades, basically swap coins. You can do different versions of that. So you can actually DCA into coins over an amount of time, where you can say, here's how much I'm going to spend, and here's how much I want you to buy over a certain period of time. That way you average in a good price. You can trade perpetual futures on JUP as well. So you can actually use leverage. I highly do not recommend, absolutely do not recommend, please do not use leverage in your trades. It is for experts only. And it takes a lot of skill and a lot of patience, and you can lose your money as fast as you put it in. But the point here being, for using this platform, Jupiter Exchange, or staking some of their tokens, they're going to be doing a huge airdrop tomorrow, something of the magnitude of like $750 million, or some super massive number based out of their token supply, rewarding users for their use of the platform over the last year. So tomorrow morning, I'm pretty sure at my time, 7:30 West Coast and 10:30 a.m. Eastern, you're gonna have this massive influx of Jupiter token. And we can actually, I want to point out and kind of just talk to you guys a little bit about my strategy for this as well. So I pulled up the Jupiter chart here, and this could be a terrible strategy. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying, by no means am I a great trader. I follow the market very closely. I've been around, but by no means do I know what I'm doing half the time. I just draw lines on charts and follow advice of other people that are much more sophisticated than me. But something I've learned over time is that when an airdrop happens, which right here you're looking at the beginning of the Jupiter token being created. So let me just go ahead and put a little circle there. So here, this was the token generation event of, well, not a circle like that. This was when Jupiter was created here in the orange circle. And what do you see? It comes online. We're looking at a day candle, by the way. So each one of these candles represents one day. And so slowly over like a 2-week period, I could measure this, but I'm not going to do that right now. But basically over a 2-week period, you see JUP token drop all the way down to like 45 cents and then boom, skyrocket all the way up to $1.80. And if you look in this year alone, JUP was at $1.40 and even just recently at $1.22. So what am I trying to tell you? JUP is infusing a lot of money that a lot of traders are going to have in the ecosystem tomorrow. What does that mean? It means that a lot of people are going to rush to dump their coins. And in most cases, you probably might see something like this, where there's a drawdown on the price action just because so many people are swapping out. And it's a highly liquid token. But here's what I want to point out. The reason JUP went up, Jupiter coin went up so much in this last year is because this is the #1 exchange on all of Solana. It facilitates some crazy amount of transactions. I'd have to pull up a Dune Analytics dashboard, which maybe I'll try to do here. I haven't pulled it up on this, but the point here being that tomorrow, a lot of people are going to collect Jupiter token. If you haven't checked it yet, you should definitely hop into the Jupiter Exchange Discord or look on their Twitter for the official link of the token checker. You can aggregate all of the wallets that you may have used JUP for or interacted with the exchange onto a profile and then just do a claim one time. You do got to have a little bit of Solana in your wallet. But yeah, so basically what I'm going to be doing for this trade, and I'd love to know what you guys are going to be doing for this trade as well, or just anybody who's making a Jupiter claim. I expect it to go down. I'm not selling. I'm taking a long position. I'm going to chart this a little bit and do like a Fibonacci retrace drawdown, similar to like something I could do here. I just don't have the settings perfect. And I'm going to try to like catch bids, as it's drawing down and dollar cost average, hopefully into a really good position, because again, this is an exchange that's not going anywhere. It's a team that's building like crazy. And here's one other thing that I just was reminded about this morning. I'm quite positive they kick off their Costin Bowl event here and maybe tomorrow, actually, when the drop goes live. They're kicking off a big event, and at that event, they're actually burning 30% of the token supply. I don't know if that's like the entire supply, or if that's like 30% of of what was traded and what but I know that they're doing a big burn. And so that's going to end up having like kind of a counteractive effect against people trying to dump post claim, because typically when you burn, you get that like scarcity effect. And so it kind of pushes price north. At the same time, you have people swapping the coin that they're claiming, trying to take it south. And so maybe you get a little bit of a cancellation effect. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm very bullish on Jupiter Exchange. It's here to stay. And it's also something, you've heard people like Luca Netz, founder of Pudgy Penguins, talk about it in the last couple months, basically saying it's platforms like Jupiter that gave him confidence to build on Solana and to do things on Solana. So very cool. And just want to give you guys a heads up about that. That's also, I think, going to affect some of these other coins, like a coin that I'm extremely bullish on. And I just have a little micro trend line on this, is called AIXBT. This is an AI agent coin in the Virtuals ecosystem on Base. And you guys have seen AIXBT on Twitter, I'm sure. In fact, I'll pull up AIXBT because it's a crazy AI agent who frequently is scanning over 400 KOLs conversation on the timeline, along with on-chain data and a couple other data agent layers. What do I mean by that? like external databases that have even more information regarding on-chain data and conversation. And I think they're going to continue like scraping more data from different sources over time. And this is turning into like the largest KOL, like, and this is an AI. This isn't even a real human. This is AIXBT is just an AI agent that analyzes on-chain data and all the crypto conversation and then spits out insights based on it. And furthermore, I think I've already showed you guys this. Well, I know I've showed it to you, but you can actually go on a website like Sentient Market here, and you can, when it loads properly, you can look at all of the AIXBT tweets and every ticker that it mentions. And you can actually see that if in most cases, if you just followed AIXBT ticker recommendations and anything that he talks about, because it gets a lot of attention. I say he, but it's a robot. You know, I'm humanizing robots. I think I struggle with that. I even like talk politely to OpenAI when I use ChatGPT, like, thank you for helping me solve this problem. Thank you for your insights, blah, blah, blah. But even just trading with this AI agent, not using copy trading, automated trading, anything like that, but like maybe buying dips based on these ticker mentions, you're going to average a 42% win rate, which is greater than probably 90% of the traders who are out there. In crypto, we see these massive gains, but believe it or not, people lose way more than they actually win. When you see these really bullish P&Ls on the timeline, either one, somebody got lucky, or two, they've probably put in a long time and they've been around here for a long while, and they're probably plugged into a really good community, like somebody like Canto Labs or Decap over with DGods, for instance. So yeah, anyways, I expect some of the money that's coming from the JUP drop tomorrow to land into other really great coins. I'm expecting that some of that money is going to land into some of these top 10 AI agents mindshare coins. So I'm sure we'll see some money flowing out of JUP into some of these other coins. But me personally, I'm bullish on JUP. I'm trying to get a good lower entry based on anticipating people selling after the airdrop so that I can hold and even stake. I highly recommend you stake. They've been really good about the staking rewards. Sorry, I got a little hair in my face. JUP's been really good about the staking rewards. But yo, that's it. That's all I got for you today. I just wanted to quickly jump on. I'm blown away at the Ross Ulbricht stuff. I'm blown away at what's happening at the national level currently. Thank you guys for popping in. Tomorrow at the same time, we're going to actually be running a cool stream. I'm going to be interviewing and demoing the Soul Sniper or SniperBot XYZ with the founder himself, Max, aka Maz, and we're going to be going through not only their SniperBot, we're going to be going through their Chrome Twitter extension, showing you how crazy it is. It allows you to see Twitter mentions on a chart for a ticker and see if there's actually like momentum or movement coming from crypto Twitter mentions, and also trade right there in like a little panel that pops up. And then we're going to look at the Sniper website as well. But what's even better is we're going to be giving away $250 on behalf of Soul Sniper. We're going to be using the Sniper bot. If we make money with that, we're going to be giving that away as well. So make sure you guys tune in. I'll get a link out a little bit later. But yo, thank you guys so much. It's been great. I basically just talked your head off for 54 minutes. We didn't even have music. Probably should have put on some music. But yo, hope you guys have a really great night. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I'm going to wrap up the stream. Peace.
I want it. I want it. I want it.